We are going to begin the funeral service for Mrs. Deanna Drucker. If you have a cell phone, I'd ask you kindly to place it in silent mode at this time or turn it completely off. I'd also like to welcome, on behalf of the family, anybody attending via live stream. Thank you as well. And services will be conducted by Rabbi Nina Mizrahi.
Deanna would be so delighted to know that everybody came to honor her memory here today. I want to recognize her family. They're all here. Elisa and Randy, and Aaron and Judy and Andrew and Jennifer and Rebecca and Maya and Brandon and Adam and Zachary and Alex and Henry and Sammy, Howard and Irene, Skip and Marilyn, Alan and Cindy, and of course Harvey. And to remember, yeah, it would be a really great idea if people would just turn off their phones now or double check. And of course, we recognize the presence of Ed Drucker and Ralph Gadiel, two very important men in her life as well. Esa enai el hacharim me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim ba'aretz. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. Look around us, search above us, below, behind. We stand in a great web of being joined together. Let us praise, let us love the time that we are lent and the life that we are lent, passing through us in the body of Israel, our own bodies, and we say, Amen. Time flows through us like water. The past and the dead speak through us. We breathe our children's blessing. Blessed is the earth from which we grow. Blessed the life that we are lent. Blessed the ones who teach us. Blessed is the word that cannot say the glory that shines through us and remains to shine, flowing past distant suns on the way to forever, and we say, Amen. Blessed is the light, blessed is the darkness, but blessed above all else is peace, which bears the fruit of knowledge on strong branches, and we say, Amen. Peace that bears joy into the world, peace that enables love, peace over Israel everywhere. Blessed and holy is peace. And we say, Amen. And it's fitting as we are observing the festival of Sukkot to read a bit of Ecclesiastes, that book that reminds us that life is, our physical and material lives are fleeting. There is a time for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for being born and a time for dying, a time for planting and a time for uprooting what has been planted, a time for destroying and a time for healing, a time for tearing down and a time for building up, a time for weeping and a time for laughing, a time for wailing and a time for dancing, a time for embracing and a time for refraining from embraces, a time for seeking and a time for losing, a time for silence and a time for speaking, a time for loving and a time for hating, a time for war, and yes, a time for peace. We read together Psalm 23 in English, which is found in your booklet. And as you read this psalm, I invite you to think of one of the phrases, kosirivaya, in this psalm, which means my cup runneth over. And as you recite Psalm 23, I want you to open your heart to the many ways it overflows with everything that Deanna gave to you in her life. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Deanna, Dina bat Eliezer Birachel, has left a beautiful legacy that will live in this large, delightful, and beautiful blended family. And before I share my words, I would like to welcome up some people to speak. The first being Charlene Grover, who is a very dear friend of Deanna's.
That was my phone going off. Deanna was reminding me that I better talk about her. You know, a couple of days ago, I had nothing on the calendar for today. And Joyce and Deanna just did their thing. They met each other as roommates, and they decided they're going to go out, pass away together. And thanking Deanna's children for making sure that myself and Riva and others got to Joyce's funeral just a few hours ago. And it was wonderful. And they mentioned Deanna a few times, and I welled up. But Deanna is there, and this is Deanna. All of you, it's incredible. And those who are watching live streaming, she is in control. She is in control, and there was no way that I wasn't going to speak. I've spoken at every birthday and anniversary party and even a bachelorette party that we had before she married Ed, and every bridal shower, and she emailed me her outline for her funeral. And we talked about it, and she even wanted to cover some of her cushions in the house so it would look good for Shiva. She was the quintessential event planner, party planner, creative, designer. She just knew how to do things beautifully. Her business card, when she had her business, had this red swoosh. I don't know how else to describe it. That red swoosh, fiery Deanna. And she was. And she's still in control, and she's still in my head as I'm speaking about you, about this. But she made sure I got here. She made sure that I went to Joyce's. And she was great. And she did all this stuff and planned all this stuff. And one of the things, the wonderful things through her life, And through the thick and the thin, and lots of times some more thin, she learned a lot of lessons. And one of the things about what I call her soft control, she was involved and she got you to do things, and half the time you didn't realize it was because she suggested it, or she advised you, or she gave you your thoughts. She thought that it was yours, and you were doing her bidding, and wanted to. I always wanted to. That was fine. One of the things about Deanna during these last months, as she was going through her illness, the courage and the resolve to do and say, I'm going to live my life like I want. I'm going to live my death like I want. And she did. And she was together almost the entire time since her diagnosis. And it reminded me so much of original Bubby, of Rochelle, the courage and the resolve. And I so saw Deanna's mother in Deanna these last few months. I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. This is life. This is how I live it. And watch me. And the inspiration that she has given her family over the years, and the legacy and the love. And one of the things that Deanna had done was join a wise aging group, I believe led by Rabbi Mizrahi. And I have just recently joined, and I did it in honor of Deanna. She loved that group, the spirituality, the Jewishness, the closeness, the looking into one's soul. And when a group started in my congregation, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for Deanna. She wrote this beautiful ethical will that is her legacy from this group, from this wise aging group. We had a lot in common. We did a lot of things. One of the things that was really big and Deanna loved, she loved all the holidays, and she loved parties, and she loved everything. She loved her birthday. April 11th. April 11th is my birthday, and it's her niece Dana's birthday. So we would, from the moment we met, celebrate our birthdays. And she loved her birthday, so it was such an important date for her that oftentimes when we were out together doing what she had wanted to do for her birthday, which of course I would do, anything she wanted, I would sometimes think, I am sharing her birthday, and I sometimes forgot I was also celebrating mine. That she loved it so much. As a matter of fact, my brother, who sometimes was a little silly, looked at Deanna's car, and she had on her license plate her birthday, and he said to me, look at your friend Deanna's got your birthday on your car. She must really be a good friend of yours. And, you know, it was wonderful, and I'm going to miss her terribly, but I would, like I said, and like she wanted me to, and how she planned in her outline for the funeral, that I would speak. And I said, of course, Deanna, anything you want. But because her birthday was so special, and because she loved Passover and loved the Passover Seders, and because April 11th would either fall right at Passover, right at the end of Passover, or in Passover, I did something for her 60th birthday party that I'd like to share with you. And it was at the end of Passover, and I thought I would do a takeoff on Dayenu. And I called it Deanna. And I would like you, if you remember when it's the prayer Dayenu, the song, we would always say, the refrain was Dayenu, please join with me. And we're going to say Deanna. Deanna. How many wonderful things did Deanna do? Had she only been a friend in Lincolnwood and not shared our birthday? Deanna. Oh, I love it. Had we shared our birthday and not involved our families? Deanna. Had we involved our families and shared our surahs, not shared our surahs? Deanna. Had we shared our surahs and not our simchas? Deanna. Had we shared our simchas and not been at her parties? Deanna. Had we been at her parties and not done a presentation? Deanna. Had we done a presentation and not laughed and cried? Deanna. Had we laughed and cried and not loved each other? Deanna. How much more, then, are we grateful for the things we've shared? So she has been a friend. shared our birthday, involved our families, shared our suras, shared our simchas, been at her parties, laughed and cried and loved each other. I don't know how many April 11ths I have left in my life, but I will be sharing it with Deanna forever. I will be putting an extra candle on whatever dessert they give me in a restaurant, and it'll be for Deanna. I love you, Deanna, and I will miss you, my dear friend.
I would now like to invite up Alan.
So we have to fix this microphone a little closer. Can everybody hear me now? Okay. What a nice crowd. Thank you. I have a few words. On behalf of my brothers, Howard, Skip, and I, we are so grateful to have you here today to honor our big sister Deanna's incredible journey of life, love, fun, excitement, and sharing. While Deanna was in rehab in Skokie during these past few months and being told of her unfortunate disease and ultimate outcome, she immediately focused on how her final passing days were to be. Almost every night as dinner time approached, she would call Cindy or Elisa and ask, "What's for dinner?" As it was time to gather the family and friends for dinner at the rehab conference room. These were such special moments for her to have all the people she loved and cherished around to comfort her, share their stories of the day, and to laugh and cry. She knew how to accept her fate and so kindly asked her doctors to fulfill her most important last wish: keep her alive to be at her granddaughter Maya's wedding on October 4th. Well, Deanna, with your strong will and fight, you made it, and as usual, you were so beautifully and elegantly attired. Deanna, for all of us who know you as Mom, Bubby D, sister, friend, mentor, and confidant, you showed us how to live life to its fullest potential. You were blessed to share your life journey with three incredible partners. First, Ralph for 32 years, with who you brought Elisa, Aaron, and Andrew into our lives. Then Ed for 10 years, embracing his sons, Rick, Steve, Brian, their wives and children as your own. And last but not least, Harvey for these past 12 years. And his son-in-law, John, wife, Carrie, and granddaughters, Britt and Jessie. You are truly one of the greatest ambassadors of love. While you were planning your ultimate demise, you told me I could speak at your funeral, but I needed to write something ahead of time so you could read and edit, so you could read what I would write, so you could edit and improve it. Well, unfortunately, I didn't meet your deadline. But as I sat down on this past Tuesday, to express our feelings about you, I looked up at what I said at Mom's funeral. As I read it, I started to cry, as every word written was exactly what I would venture to say about you. It was, oh my God, this must be coming from Mom, too. So let me tell you and everyone here who you are and what you meant to us. You have given us all the most precious and powerful gift in life, love. As our mom, you gave us the strength to grow, the wisdom to succeed, the kindness to understand compassion, and your time to share our lives with you. As Bubby D, you taught us how to have fun so we could share our happiness with others. Gave us courage so we may eliminate our fears. showed us the meaning of commitment so we could learn right from wrong, and you gave us your time to share our lives with you. As our sister, you changed our diapers, scolded us when we deserved it, shared our mitzvahs with us, embraced Cindy, Irene, and Marilyn as friend and sister-in-law, and gave us your time to share our lives with you. As our friend, you listened to our joys and troubles and taught us how to put things in the proper perspective, showed us by example how to have respect for others and ourselves, gave us encouragement to live life with our glasses half full rather than half empty, and gave us your time to share our lives with you. As our mentor and confidant, you were our comfort zone for us to lean on in times of need, our rock of Gibraltar. You showed us how to handle stress, the one person in our lives who truly knew the right answers, and the one that was always there to give us your time and share our lives with you. It is no doubt that each and every person that has ever met you, even if only for a short time, will always remember you and the impact you made on their life. You are surely what God had in mind when he created angels. You leave us with so many memories to celebrate your life, and we start today as you have so scripted. As you have planned, your Shiva will be the biggest party of your life, and everybody is encouraged to come with stories to be told and all good things to remember. So as I relinquish the podium, let us honor and pay tribute to you in the cherished Bolnick tradition with this serenade. Let us call you sweetheart. We're in love with you. Let us hear you whisper that you love us too. Keep your spirit glowing so we know you're always here. Let us call you sweetheart. We're in love with you.
How am I going to get through this? Oh my goodness, look at everybody. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Bless you. Wow, she would be really, really happy. Okay, hi. Instead of talking about all the ways that my mom lived life to the fullest, I want to talk about something different. I want to talk about all of you. Because all of you are the reason something truly magical happened to me over the past few months. I don't think I'm going to get through this. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I was given an unusual and unexpected gift, the chance to see into my mom's everyday world. It started, of all places, at CVS Pharmacy. I'm here to pick up a prescription for Deanna Drucker, I say. And before I knew it, I was having a 5-minute conversation with Gina about how much she loved my mom. Now, I try to be nice to my pharmacist, but they have never hugged me. And that's how it went everywhere. Everywhere I went, every errand, every personal maintenance appointment, every moment with her girlfriends or doctors or people she only knew because she shopped at their store, I'd get another 5-minute love letter about my mom. And somewhere along the way, I realized what was happening. I had discovered my mom's fan club. But this wasn't a normal fan club. You shared in her joy, her humor, her zest for life. And I know you're all going to say it was because of her, that she brought out the best in people, that she radiated love. I've come to believe something a little different. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was all your energy, your warmth, your kindness that she absorbed. And she reflected that back 1,000 times over. Maybe she was your mirror, showing you the very best parts of yourselves. To every member of my mom's fan club here today, please know this. Oh my God, hold on. Being surrounded by your love has been profoundly healing for me. You helped me see her more clearly and remember her, just how extraordinary she was. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for loving her and for helping me experience that same love. Thank you.
What a party. Hi, everyone. I am, as you might know, Deanna's youngest child, or as she would often call me, her baby. Or even more often, she would call me tech support. She'd also call me and say, Andrew, where are the baby pictures on the web? You know, I would tell my kids that my mom's jokes are really where I get my dad jokes from. You know, what are you making for dinner? Reservations. How was your flight? Uneventful. It's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. You know, my earliest memories after I was very young in Lincolnwood, but we moved to Linden Park Place, and I'd play the player piano and sit in the red room with her, or shoot basketballs in the driveway and have to climb over the fence to the neighbor's yard. Sorry if you're here. And then we'd be out playing with the neighborhood kids, and she'd call my name down the street to tell me it was time to come home. You know, and just these memories have been flooding back over the last couple of weeks. You know, we'd spend the summers up in Michiana on the beach, learning to enjoy a great Midwest peach. She taught me how to swim, you know, how to ride a bike, how to fall and get back up again. You know, when we would go to the knoll, she would love to go for long walks down the beach. That was her favorite thing to do. And even when we lived apart for the second half of my life, when I moved to California, I knew I could connect with her at any time. And she would answer the phone, usually whenever I called, often when she was in a crowded restaurant, typically Country Kitchen, which you can go and sit in her booth now and tell them you're friends with Deanna. They love her there. As you all know, my mother was extremely caring, always wondering what I was up to and asking what was new. And I could talk to her about what was going on in my life, and she'd listen, she'd offer feedback and guidance, or just say, it sounded like you needed to talk to your mommy. She wasn't necessarily a music person, but she appreciated it. She understood when Jerry Garcia died. She would ask me about Fish and Humphreys McGee. She'd get our emails. She appreciated that I was doing what I loved and instilled with me the confidence that someday I would figure it all out. She would often send me newspaper articles whenever there was something interesting in the paper around music or tech, and she would cut it out and mail it to me, and then she would send me emails. Yeah. She knew right away when I met Jen that I'd found someone special. She loved her grandchildren, Alex and Sammy, and made every effort to come out to California to be with them for their births, their birthdays, Halloweens, and of course their bar bat mitzvahs. We went to Disneyland together and got stuck in It's a Small World. And as you know, she loved to throw a good party. I think she said something like, the people make the party, or that's something she would say. And she was often the life of the party, dancing or talking to people she didn't know that she had a quip or a quote or some fun saying that would catch people's attention and they should remember her. I love your mom. I still remember getting to surprise her on her 40th birthday. That was fun. And we all know she was incredibly giving and philanthropic. Even when we didn't have a lot to give, she would express gratitude and feelings of prosperity. And she taught me the value of community, something I'll really always treasure. And so I want to read from her ethical will, in her own words. Community. The sage and scholar Hillel taught, do not separate yourself from the community. Be a part of something outside of yourself. Creating community was part of my childhood when my parents and the other 30 Jewish families in Harvey, Illinois, started the Harvey Jewish Congregation. They bought a small house on a quiet street with apple trees in the backyard. They imported Hebrew school teachers from the Chicago yeshivas and a rabbi for the high holidays. My earliest memories are of being part of that community where everyone knew who I was, where I belonged. For their entire married life, my parents belonged to a synagogue, wherever they lived. I have followed their example and have always been affiliated with a congregation. There are so many ways to create community, and I have seen each of you develop the connection, friendship, and family that does just that. Thank you, Mom, for taking care of me when I was growing up and being so supportive of me through my life. You really taught me to value life and the value of life experiences, appreciating the people around us, and most importantly, thank you for taking me to the hospital when I would fall and crack my head open and needed stitches. I love you. And thanks you to Charlene as well for taking me to the hospital. And I think it would go without saying that this is a party that she would want to be at. And I love you, and I will miss you. Thank you. Yes, of course. There.
I've always wanted to know how my mom saw the world. So I had an idea. All right, this changes everything. She would have loved that. She would have loved that. If you really knew me, you'd actually know that I've been struggling with how to most authentically honor my mother today, besides the wig. I've known this moment was coming, and I've wrestled with how to encapsulate the impact she had on my life, while also staying true to myself, which honestly is exactly what she would have wanted. You see, like my sister said, the Deanna you all knew and loved was not always someone I was able to fully experience and appreciate. I know my mom loved me. I know she was so proud of me, unequivocally. Yet the larger-than-life persona my mom shared with the rest of the world, the person I would always hear about anytime I met someone who knew her, wasn't always the same picture of a mother I carried in my mind. So as I thought about these remarks over the past few months, I did so with an intention of deep curiosity and listening. I asked myself, what are the true lessons my mom has been teaching me all these years, even when I didn't always want to pay attention? And the theme that just kept coming back to me again and again was my mom's commitment to doing her inner work and always encouraging and supporting me to do the same. That didn't mean we had to agree on what that work looked like, and oftentimes we didn't. But even in those moments of conflict, I know my mom was steadfast in her quest to truly know ourselves. See, I believe my mom understood that this life of ours is an inside job. Sure, she cared about what people thought. And sure, she saw to it that her signature hairstyle was always on point. But those weren't the things that truly mattered most to her. What mattered most to my mom was living her most authentic life. And looking back, I can see that my mom was leading by example, pushing me to shape my own journey of growth and self-exploration. And I'm guessing I'm not the only one who felt that impact. She was always pushing me to forge my own path, to make my own decisions, and to trust that I'd come out as the best version of myself I could be, because that's what she was always doing. There's a line from Broke Down Palace that comes to mind. Mama, mama, many worlds I've come since I first left home. That line makes me think about all the worlds my mom and I have each traveled through, the distances covered inside ourselves, and how that journey keeps unfolding. That, I believe, was my mom's greatest gift to me, the invitation to keep digging deeper, to keep exploring who I truly am in this world. I would be remiss if I didn't mention two very important people. First, my wife, Judy. Who probably had the best seat in the house. She had her own unique relationship with my mom and the rare opportunity to experience both the Deanna the world adored and the mother I knew. Judy's perspective helped me put the pieces together and come to love and understand my mom in her wholeness. I can't thank you enough. And to my sister, Elisa. Bearing witness to you this past year has been nothing short of remarkable. You took on the responsibility, whether you asked for it or not, of shepherding Mom to her end with the utmost grace, attention, respect, and clarity for her life. I am beyond grateful and deeply appreciative for your efforts. I want you to know I see you and I love you. Whether you knew her as Deanna, Bubby D, sister, or mom, I know she left an indelible impact on all our lives. And my guess is that her ultimate wish would be for each of us to use her life as a reminder to look inward, to find our most authentic selves, and to share that version with the world. I love you, Mom.
We already can say Kosi Rivaya. How incredible it feels to be filled up with all of the love and to know how much of an impact that Deanna had on all of your lives in many generations. And it's true, Deanna has left a beautiful, beautiful legacy for each of us to carry forward in our own way. From the time we met 25 years ago, Deanna and I forged a friendship founded on our shared love of learning. In 2003, Deanna began participating in my seasonal Jewish spirituality walks in the Chicago Botanic Gardens. From 2017 to 2024, she was engaged in, as you heard, the Wise Aging Program with me and my co-facilitator, Bev Lavitt. Needless to say, her contribution to the group was extraordinary. This was heart learning. This was diving deep down inside and reflecting on her life, her relationships, absolutely everything. And it's a journey that one has to decide that they're going to do, and Deanna did fearlessly. I want to say that it's not often that when someone, at least in my experience, gives students an assignment, that they really, really dive into it. So for me, to be able to stand here with a copy of her ethical will, and I want you to see this because I want you to understand the impact that it had on this family to be able not only to have this to hold and carry forward, but to have had her come and meet with you and give it to you as she met with me for coffee, to give it to me and to talk just to me. And I think we all felt that way when she was connecting with us. And I urge you to give this gift to your children or to your families because it's an incredible gift. It is her Torah. And I want to share another connection, and that is that when we first met at JCC Chicago, one of the first teachings I did agency-wide for the leadership was do not separate yourself from the community. And so when you read the passage about community, it really resonated with me. Because I'm not sure that Deanna had a distinction between her immediate family and the family of her community. As evidenced here and all of the people watching today, it's amazing. Not only was she who she was, but she somehow managed to be a teacher for all of us. So some of the topics that Deanna grappled with all of us in Wise Aging were issues like forgiveness and reconciliation, living with loss and finding light, conscious dying, and legacy. And we see that she was able to integrate that difficult material, make it her own, and model for us what it means to consciously die. The Hebrew word for elder is zaken, and it's more than a description of age. Our sages read it as an acronym, Zeh shekana chokhmah. This is the one who has acquired wisdom. Deanna clearly took to heart the wisdom she acquired from all of her learning and life experiences. And I do want to recognize Jane Shapiro, who was also someone that she studied with and learned a lot from. When I selected my etrog at Rosenblum's last week, I found myself thinking of Deanna. The etrog, which symbolizes the heart, is called in Hebrew Pri Etz Hadar, the fruit of a beautiful, enduring tree. Hadar is an unusual word. The only other time it's used in the Tanakh is in the phrase, V'hadarta pnei zaken, and you shall hadar before your elders. The rabbis explain that we are to recognize the enduring beauty and worth and wisdom of our elders, because true beauty is not fleeting, and it's not fleeting youth, but rather a beauty that ripens, endures, and deepens across time. Deanna was as Kena, a wise elder, in the best sense of the word. In the midst of our grief, faced with our own mortality, we are called to affirm the sanctity of life through the act of gathering remembrance. Each memory gathered becomes part of the sacred story of her life. And within each memory, we share a spark of the eternal light of her wise and loving soul. The poet David White writes in Everlasting, "We live in the light and love of those who came before us and who helped us to see and celebrate and recognize ourselves and who brought us here and whose light we now pass on, so that even at the end of time, even in the quietest sense of disappearance, even in the far distance of time beyond our present understanding, that we will be remembered in the way others still live and still live on in our love. Together today, as an expression of love, we begin the process of gathering the Torah of Deanna Drucker. May the insights we glean from each remembrance, now and into the future, become Deanna's living legacy. And may each seed planted blossom into an enduring legacy that will continue to thrive as it is transmitted l'dor vador from one generation to the next. Deanna's ethical will begins, I write to you, my children and grandchildren, to share with you the values and beliefs that have guided my life. So that many of these have been handed down to me from parents and grandparents and probably from generations before that, and may have evolved from life's experiences. My prayer is that you will take these words to heart and that a little of me will live on in the words that I write. Deanna describes God as a cosmic force for good. She associates spirituality with witnessing and experiencing the natural world and the birth of a child. She believes in the power of exercising the free will to choose one's way. Deanna talks about Judaism as the core of her being, recognizing it is transmitted l'dor vador through intergenerational traditions, shared experiences, and memories. She attributes her Jewish identity and her love and pursuit of lifelong learning to her grandfather, Alex Bolnick, and recognizes that through this pursuit, she also acquired wisdom. To her parents, Deanna attributes the importance of the mitzvah of tzedakah. She learned about the importance of community, as we heard before, from the Harvey Jewish community and all the families that started that congregation. Deanna attributes her ability to survive the hardships to being proactive and resilient. And during her life, she taught us what it means to live with loss, both material and the love of two devoted husbands, Ed and Ralph. And each time, it was her resilience that led her to find love again, including now with Harvey. Deanna deeply believed that she was funny and witty. And believe me, I stand here humbled today by your capacity for humor. I may be one of the more serious people I've ever met, but I have learned much about the profound need for more humor, especially humor that comes out of deep, profound wisdom that we need in our lives. She noted that laughter is what sustained her. What a lesson. At the core of all of this is her love for family, by birth and through commitment. Deanna wishes each of you a life filled with love, kindness, gratitude, and self-acceptance. That you will take care of yourselves and each other and help those in need, and live life to its fullest as the best version of yourself. Deanna imparted her most important lessons as you heard, through the way she lived and the relationships she built. Philanthropy and her generosity of heart, through curiosity and lifelong learning, through faith combined with action, through responding to loss with resilience and humor, through love and devotion to family and friends, through resilience in the face of adversity and loss, through her love and laughter, through her commitment to helping to build and sustain a solid family and a community. The best way to honor Deanna's memory is to follow the path she laid out for us, a way of bringing good into the world. May the insights we glean from each remembrance now and into the future become the seeds of Deanna's living legacy. May each seed planted grow into a garden that endures and that will continue to grow and blossom l'dor vador from generation to generation. It is my hope that one of the gifts you will give to the family is to take the time to write a letter or a poem or anything, and within the next few months, make sure that you give it to them. Because the gift of memory is what keeps Deanna alive for us going forward. And every single person here on Zoom, in the overflow room, every one of you has a story. And from that story, perhaps when you share it, you can also share the Torah that you gleaned from that experience with Deanna, so that generations to come who read this book of remembrance will understand not only moments that people shared with her, but they will understand the wisdom and the love that was at the foundation of building those experiences. Yehi Baruch Zichra. May Deanna's memory be for a blessing. And now for something unconventional at a funeral, as per Deanna's request. Deanna wanted me to offer a blessing in celebration of life, especially during these difficult times, to remember that our days count. And we know in Psalm 90, verse 12, we read, Limnot Yamenu Kain Hoda, B'navi Levav Chochma, teach us to use all our days that we may attain a heart of wisdom. Teach us to realize the brevity of life, that we may grow in wisdom. And to close, we are going to share the Shehechianu together. In this context today, Rabbi Shefa Gold sees this blessing as a spiritual tool that encourages us to rediscover the fullness of now by pausing and acknowledging continued existence, embracing gratitude and resilience, and finding strength in the face of adversity, including loss. May this ancient yet ever-renewing blessing help us cultivate gratitude, shift perspective, discover resilience and hope, find connection and renew spiritual resilience. Help us find hope, and help us find a positive outlook in the face of seemingly overwhelming challenges. I invite you to join me in reciting the Shehechianu as we hold Deanna in our hearts and remember her love of life and affirm her desire to celebrate life every day as a precious gift. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal Spirit, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and allowing us to reach this season. Amen. Please rise for El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim shochen bamromim, hamsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim utehorim kezohar harakia masirim, et nishmat Dina bat Eliezer v'Rachel, shehalcha le'olama ba'al harachamim yastireha b'seter knafav le'olamim, v'yitzror b'yitzror hachayim et nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved one who has entered eternity, grant her clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold her in the embrace of your wings. Secure her soul in eternity. Adonai, she is yours, and may she rest in peace. And we say once again, Amen.
This does conclude the service here at the chapel. The family will be receiving calls of condolences at the Drucker residence, 3535 Patton Road, Unit 4C in Highland Park. That information is on the folders as well as our website. They will be sitting Shiva today following the burial from 4 p.m. until 9 p.m., Friday from 2 until 6, and Saturday from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. Those hours as well are on the folders and our website. Interment will take place at Shalom Memorial Park Cemetery, that's 1700 West Rand Road in Arlington Heights. The procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please keep in mind a few safety features while in the procession. Keep your bright headlights on at all times, put your emergency blinkers on, attach the orange funeral sticker to the passenger portion of your front windshield, and we'll also attach a flag to the roof of your car. And please stay as close as safety permits to the car in front of you. Serving as pallbearers today will be Deanna's grandchildren. If I could ask Rebecca, Adam, Zachary, Alex, and Sammy to please come forward, and ask that everyone else please rise as the family and the rabbi are escorted from the chapel.